Hey there, I'm Kevin Downey, and I run an agency called Kevin M. Downey, where we help B2B companies with their sales and marketing efforts. You can visit our website at kevinmdowney.com. Okay, today's topic, who should you hire first in your B2B startup? Sales or marketing? That's the question. And the answer, it's a bit of a trick question, is neither. So when you're a B2B startup, and I see this all the time, companies think they hire sales reps to get sales. It doesn't work, right? At the end of the day, when you start with your startup, you need to build from the ground up. And the first step is one of the principals in the organization should be able to and has the time to do sales to prospects that come into them as scheduled appointments, right? That would be the first thing you've got to establish. Somebody in the founding group is going to do sales. Generally speaking, in my 10 plus years of recruiting and training sales reps and working with B2B companies, I would say in almost all cases, maybe one or two exceptions, the best sales rep in the company's history was one of the founders of the company. Not necessarily all the founders are, but definitely one of them, right? So there's usually a point person that's your initial salesperson. So now you have to drive scheduled appointments, inbound leads, scheduled appointments to that principal. How do you do that? Do you hire a marketing person? Not necessarily. Can you? Sure. But it would be better to find the right person to drive you inbound leads. For example, and this is just in our agency's case, we do email marketing for B2B companies to drive them inbound leads. For startups, the best methodology, if the prospect list is big enough, is to use high-powered email to drive inbound leads. You hire a BDR, SDR type person to follow up with those leads and move them to scheduled calls with the principal in the company. So you could argue that in this case, you're hiring, let's say, an agency like mine to drive inbound leads, and then you're hiring a BDR, SDR type person, which would be sales, part of the sales department typically, to move them to a scheduled call with a principal with that initial founder that is doing sales, right? And until their schedule, and they may have operational stuff to do in the company, in your case you might, where you can only handle so many sales calls in a day, maybe only one or two, right? Most cases it's 3 or 4. You can handle 1 or 2 sales calls. That's fine, or 3 or 4. If you get to the point where that build out, that process is now filling your schedule, now you go hire a salesperson, right? Now your next move is to hire sales. And then you continue to expand your marketing reach and your BDR, SDR team as needed to fill that salesperson's schedule, right? And then you keep going and replicating that. Now, for certain kinds of businesses, they want their sales reps to do prospecting, right, on their own, and typically this would apply in boots on the ground to build their own customer base. That's fine and dandy, and in that kind of situation where you've got an ongoing sales relationship with the customer, you're doing upselling, cross-selling, filling in inventory, all that stuff, right, what we call account executive or account manager type sales. I still want the principal in the organization to do the initial sales, right? And then as soon as time, is constrained, there's just not enough time for that individual. Now you've got your process to generate leads, to generate appointments. Now you bring in your first sales rep, right? Now, can they do some prospecting at that point? Absolutely, you can have them do some prospecting to fill at that time if they have it. But at the end of the day, again, we're focused on driving inbound leads. We're using marketing or whatever we're doing, maybe a business development rep to drive inbound leads and scheduled appointments to a principal in the organization initially. And then we're only adding salespeople as that prospecting or that marketing and prospecting and follow-up is getting scheduled appointments for sales. And now we add a sales rep as needed, and you continue to grow like that. Again, eventually, if you have your reps being boots on the ground, territorial type sales, then obviously you're going to start scaling your company with that methodology, and they may do some of their own prospecting or all their own prospecting, but initially that's not how you want to start building things from the ground up. Okay? All right. Hopefully this helps you. If you have any questions, reach out to us, kevinmdowney.com. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.